Crete, the largest Greek island, where for thousands of years man marches hand in hand with culture and history, where for centuries singing bears roots and mellows life, where dance becomes a way and a spark of love in the eye of the listening girl. Here in celebrated Crete, welcome aboard the eldest vessel of European civilization. Welcome to our world, in a macrocosm of microcosm. In the middle of Eastern Mediterranean, with a surface of 261 square kilometers and a coastline of 1046 kilometers, Crete defines the southernmost part of Europe. It is divided in 4 districts that consist of 68 municipalities and 3 communities. Archaeological excavations brought to light evidence that confirmed the habitation of the island before the Neolithic period, while the forthcoming centuries prepared the great civilization that Evans called Minoan. Around 1900 BC, the first royal centers are established in Knossos, Thestos, Malia, Arhanes, Zachros, and Kydonia. In mid-15th century BC, the Minoan civilization declines and becomes a myth after the conquest of the island by the Dorians in 1100 BC. From the written monuments of Minoan Crete, 3 types of writing have been preserved: the hieroglyphics, Linear A and Linear B. The Dorians dominate the island until the subjugation of Crete to the Romans around the middle of the 1st century BC. The rule of law during this period in the Cretan cities is remarkable, as recorded by the Queen of Inscriptions in Gordina. The arts of sculpture, metalwork, and miniaturization with Eastern influences flourish. Soon after that, the missionary Titus, who founded the first church in Gordina, spread Christianity in Crete. With the constitution of the Byzantine state, Crete, along with North Africa, form a united prefecture. The relatively peaceful period that follows to the beginning of 9th century comes to an end with the conquest of the island by the Saracens. In 961, Nicephorus Phocas recaptures Crete and reinstates it as part of the Byzantine Empire. A century and a half later, the Venetians will dominate it for more than 450 years. The island will enjoy an enormous cultural growth in the last centuries of the Venetian domination. Dominicus Theotokopoulos, better known as El Greco, is classed among the major artists of this era. The Venetian endowed the cities with private and public buildings that still at present retain their glamour and radiance. The next invaders of the island are the Ottoman Turks in 1669. The struggles of the Cretan people for their liberation extend throughout 19th century. Arcadi became the lighthouse for the rebels. The formal reunion of this great island with mainland Greece took place in 1913. Crete, it represents a governmental district characterized by a rapid rate of growth. The large projects planned and implemented, as well as the company programs applied in recent years under the supervision of the district authorities, indicate the streamlining course of Crete in tune with its traditional character. The contemporary Cretan person enjoys both urban and rural life, striking thus a balance between the modern and the local traditional lifestyle. While at the same time he is involved with trade, manufacture, tourism and light industry. Parallel to his modern activities, the Cretan person always seizes the opportunity to execute his traditional activities. In this manner, he expresses his free and independent spirit. Both in villages and cities, the loom is still found, with women weaving the adorned bedspreads and the woolen embroidered sheets, knitting or embroidering by the side of their front door, working delicately the age-old knitting work of Copanelli. Another image still preserved is that of the next-door neighbor sitting with straw, weaving all kinds of baskets or hats for sun protection. We can even come across men picking reed or preparing branches of osier for them to weave traditional utensils around the house. In the cities, the old blacksmiths have become extinct. The makers of the famous Cretan knives, with their distinctive strong blade, the handle made of animal horns, and the wooden, leather, or sometimes silver sheath embossed with illustrations. The wood carver also still survives. The wood engraver, the inspired artisan that gives life to wood with marvelous creations, miniature works and decorations. We meet him creating handmade musical instruments, sweet-voiced Cretan liras and violins, tuneful lutes and mandolins. The demand for the survival of the traditional style of living has brought to surface the old craftsmanship of the shoemaker. The Cretan shoemaker knows well the whims of Cretan weather. He pays attention to detail, and his handmade boots never fail the user. The Minoan potter still makes a living from his handcraft in many places around Crete, creating pots for use or decoration, rivaling his ancient ancestor. In recent years, there is a systematic publicity and promotion of Cretan products, mostly organic, whose cultivation is encouraged. Significant manufacturing plants of assembling, packaging and transporting of Cretan products have developed in Crete. The University of Crete and other scientific institutions on the island bring about immense scientific, intellectual and cultural work. Large private and public medical institutions with state-of-the-art infrastructure and equipment in large cities, spread out health centers and regional medical offices in rural areas, operate ready to offer their services. All types of sports are encouraged and developed. The Pan-Cretan Olympic Stadium is the island's sports landmark, where the competitive program of the Olympic Games Athens 2004 began. Numerous are the cultural events organized by the municipality authorities every summer in the cities and the villages all around the island. Tourism is the strongest developing industry on the island and occupies the largest part of the working force. In their elegant traditional costumes, with their needlework and ornaments, men and women look impressive. Women of Crete nowadays are actively involved in women's cooperatives. In remote villages, the traditional way of living is still very much a daily practice, and traditional methods are used in the cultivation of land. And amongst them comes the feast, where protagonists are the feast, dancing and singing. Cretan dances are predominantly performed in groups and circular patterns. Zitos, Pendozali, Malevisiotis, Susta and Siganos are the most well-known Cretan dances today. Merrymaking and dancing goes on at festivals until very early in the morning. Food varieties, the natural taste of Cretan products and the purity of nature have shaped the special character of Cretan gastronomy. Nutritional and tasty foods are produced and play a great part in the dietary process offered even by the large hotel units on the island. Fresh vegetables, garden produce, cabbage and pulses consist the largest part of Cretan dietary. On the Cretan dining table, food is always accompanied by homemade wine from the family cellar. Raki is the balm of Cretans. A strong and feastful alcoholic drink is produced in a joyous atmosphere at the villages from grapes or berries. On the uneven land of Crete, 3 mountain ranges rise, namely White Mountains or Madares, Idi or Psiloritis, Dicti or Lassithiotica mountains. Among the high peaks, the plateaus of Omalos, Nida on Psiloritis, and Lassithi Plateau on Dicti are formed. Smaller mountain ranges, mountains and hills with small arable patches of land outline the morphology of the land. Rich springs with cool and gargling waters paint the Cretan landscape. On the island, there are many modern table water companies that bottle and distribute their products all over the island. Only a few of the Cretan rivers flow in summer. Torrents that have shaped the island's landscape through times are more often encountered. On the island's mountains graze flocks of goats and sheep. The wild flora of Crete accounts more than 270 self-sown herds. Crete does not have large plains. The most famous is the plain of Messara. Crete's only lake, Lake Kuna, is located at Georgiopolis municipality. Crete's chalky soil creates impressive imprints on the rocky sections of the island. There are more than 2,700 caves, with stalagmites and stalactites in their interior. The coastline of the island offers an exceptional lie of the land. Unique for its beauty is the self-sown palm trees forest at the beginning of Cavo Sidero Sitia County. The production, packaging, and promotion of Cretan organic olive oil are gaining ground in Crete. Fishing has also a prominent position in the economy of the island. The rich sea environment caters for this developing sector with a variety of fish catch. The most significant growth taking place is in the tourism sector. The modern infrastructure, along with the well-known Cretan hospitality, guarantee to deliver an unforgettable stay, rich in experiences. Hania, the largest city of West Crete, the glorious Kytonia of antiquity, built by Kydonas, son of Minoas according to myth, revealing thus its establishment lying far lost in time. Hidden in the arms of a small cove, stretching today at the foothills of the celebrated Madara Mountains, it is the administrative and financial center for the Western Cretan district known as Hania County. A large city, second in population in Crete, unfolds its history, services, comforts, idiosyncrasies, and beauty, offering many enticements for an enjoyable and carefree stay, while at the same time there are many interesting spots to visit. The well-preserved, imposing Byzantine walls of the city are in many areas constructed on fortification ruins of the Hellenistic period. Constructed with the building materials of ancient Kydonia, with an asymmetrical outline, it is endowed with small, beautiful, rectangular and polygonal towers. Fortress Fika was the base of the military commander of the city, while during the Turkish occupation and up until recently, Fikas was being used as a prison and military quarters. On the small tower of the northern side, on December 1st, 1930, the flag of the unification with mainland Greece was put up. An iron chain reaching from Fikas to the base of the lighthouse was securing and protecting the port and the city from the sea when the city was under siege. The small, quaint port, encircled by the Venetian arsenale, meaning shipyard, on the southeast side is a host of small and medium-sized boats. In the central arsenale, built by the Venetians in 1585 and renovated today, the Mediterranean center of architecture is located. The center is very active in organizing seminars, presentations, events, and symposiums, and makes an enormous intellectual contribution to the city and the region of Eastern Mediterranean in general. Kitsos and Doris, with their baggage, interweave the beautiful memories and romance of gone-by times with a comfortable visit to the reality of today. On the northwest side of the port lies the Naval Museum of Hania. Numerous exhibits displayed on 2 floors bear witness to the long correlation of the city with the sea. In the city, there are visible signs from the past times and the different cultures that have occupied the island. In the heart of the city flourishes today the Archaeological Museum, housed in the old Franciscan monastery, while the Venetian temple of San Salvador hosts the collection of remarkable Byzantine and post-Byzantine exhibits. Other significant sites of the city include the Church of St. Rocos, Santa Magdalena, St. Eleftherios, St. Nicholas, and the famous Episcopal. The town market stands out today as the jewel of the city and is a point of reference for the locals. Impressive in size and shape, it is built on the ruins of Piazza former bastion and constitutes a unique construction of a roofed market on the island. The 76 business establishments, loaded with the bountiful riches of the Cretan land and seas, satisfy, with mainly traditional products, the gastronomical and other demands of the modern consumer. A central recreation center of the city is the town gardens. In the eastern part of the city, at its lower height, the Akrotiri Cape hosts the tombs of great politicians of Crete, with its panoramic view to the sea and the bay. On the western side opens up Nea Hora with its beautiful beaches where the visitor can enjoy the sea. Village Maleme holds strong on its contemporary history memories of the Battle of Crete. The fierce battles here brought death to thousands of German parachutists in Second World War, lying peacefully today at the German cemetery on the hill. At the furthest point of Cape Spatha, and after a difficult journey, lies the small bay of Kadzilieri, compensating the visitor with a marvelous beach. Next to the hill are found the ruins of an ancient temple, Tichtinas. Castelli Kissamos lies hidden on the western side of Castelli Bay. A little further to the south, and past the small church, carved in the rock, we come to the second port of Hania, where larger boats moor. This port connects Crete to Peloponnesus. Further to the north stretches Gramvousa, the beautiful complex of violets, with its Venetian castle built at the highest and most accessible part of peaceful Gramvousa. Here, the municipality authorities organize a series of events. Gliding thrives here, with the organization of competitions, the completion of which follows traditional feasts with singing and dancing. The large beach of Thalassanas belongs to the municipality of Castelli. It is an extensive beach visited by thousands of people every summer. At the southern part of the resort, the ruins of the ancient city and port that flourished in the historic and Hellenistic times can be found. The large towers of the port can be seen today, far away from the sea, due to the elevation of the western part of Crete. A large stone throne, possibly Poseidon's, bids farewell to the visitor. Ancient Polyrrhenia of the historic and Hellenistic times had Thalassana and Castelli as its seaports. The monastery of Chrysiskalitissa, uniquely built on the rocks of the beach, is on the way to Lafanisi with its well-known beaches. Lafanisi is one of the most quaint seaside spots of Hania County, with a long, sandy beach painted gold with the brushes of sunlight, with dotted rocks and circled with sand. Walking on the shallow coast, it is easy to cross over to the sandy island, once a refuge to the Lebanese cedars. Paleokora is the first from a series of towns spotted on the southern coastline from west to east. A beautiful town, is bustling with life in winter and is festive in summer, built on the foundations of ancient Calamidi town, with the ruins of the Venetian castle on the hill at its southern part. hotels, self-catering apartments, hostels and all kinds of accommodation units offer a comfortable and pleasant stay. All along the beach, fish taverns and restaurants with friendly staff are waiting on every customer's needs. From down here, the moon casts its magic, especially on a full moon night. Kandanos, at the heart of Selinu, with its heroic sacrifice in the Second World War, is today a commendable place to visit. This town is ideal for an excursion trip to nearby ancient city of Itakina, climbing up beautiful Elos with its abundant nature and cool climate, and enjoying nature at all its magnitude. From Kandanos and pausing for a stop at Messalvia awaits the famous Messalviano Gorge with the harrier eagles as its permanent residence. Voukolies spreads on the fringes of the plain, rich in producing citrus fruits, olive oil, honey, forest and stock farming products. The active Cultural Affairs Committee organizes the well-known Klidounos feast with traditional foods, dancing and singing. Crossing the plateau of Omalos, we arrive at Samaria Gorge, which has been characterized as a worldwide monument of natural beauty. Every year, thousands of tourists visit the gorge. Its crossing is a 6 to 8 hours hike that never fails to impress nature lovers. Horas Fakion, a small, bustling, historic town. This small town captivates the mind with its impressive hill climbing, natural beauty, beaches, nature and its peculiarities. The port of Horas Fakion is the largest in the county on the South Sea and has daily boat trips to Lutro, Paleochora and Gavros. West from Sfakia, we come across the big, known for its steep slopes gorge of Aradina, which in the past has been the invincible guardian of Aradina. Built once at the edge of the gorge, the deserted village displays at present the ruins of a great ancient city it used to be. At the end of Nimbriotico Gorge stretches out the historic plateau with its rebellious inhabitants. At the northern end of the plateau lie the ruins from the two Ottoman castles that record the destructive impact of the Ottomans' activity in the area. The road trip to Asfendo village takes you through striking sights of rocks on the sides of the road. There lies the Neolithic cave with impressive but uninterpreted inscriptions and wall engravings. The seaside resort Stavros, with its carved buildings along the beach, is the village where Zorba the Greek was filmed, starring Anthony Quinn. The 300 monasteries and Byzantine churches in the county denote the deep religious feelings of its residents. Gouverneto Monastery, a renowned Venetian monastery, is actively engaged, as many other monasteries, in the production and packaging of oil, honey and wine products. More impressive, the monastery of Tanga Rolan, further to the south, resembling a fortress, has been a revolutionary and spiritual center throughout its long history. The large Suda Bay opens up to the South Sea, observing daily the sun's journey. A deep and safe port connects with scheduled daily trips the county with Piraeus and the world. At the mouth of the bay, the fortified by the Venetians island of Suda, or St. Nicholas, controls the entrance. Its Venetian fortresses were surrendered to the Turks 50 years after the conquest of Crete. On the side of Drepano is the ancient Aptera or Aptara. These ruins and the excavation findings indicate the power and the size of the city. Kalivas is a seaside village with a beach described as neat and enjoyable by its visitors. The small creek that flows through the village is an added note of beauty, with its taverns and hospitable accommodation units. Vamos is the capital city of the municipality, a town with intense traditional character and the development of agro-tourism. Warm hospitality is the prime service offered at the redecorated traditional guest rooms in town. A stroll on the paved streets through the village sparkles memories of distant times. Sitting at the cafes of the town, the sun continues its journey, dressed in the colors of the afternoon. After the sunset, the traditional taverns send out their smells and enticing appetites. A little further east, Almirida, with the windless bays, long beaches with crystal clear waters, cool taverns and coffee bars, is swarming with bathers throughout summer. Here are found churches from the early Christian period, with preserved to this date their floor mosaics. The blue of the sea, the small sailing boats crossing the sea, the inviting beaches and the small coves of the bay compose a panoramic view from the hilltop west of the resort. Plaka is justifiably called the balcony of Suda Bay. At Kokino village, the visitor is naturally attracted to the blowing glass workshop, where he can purchase the impressive and inspirational creations of the workmen. Small Byzantine churches come into view during the road trip to the historic monastery of St. George of Charidis. The dilapidated facilities of the old oil factory and the silk workshop bear witness to the role of the monastery in the previous years. These days, the monks are occupied with the making of incense. A visit to the beautiful Cavallo Hori is worthwhile. The built-up mouth of the Byzantine wells at the entrance of the village is a unique architectural site. At the Historic and Folklore Museum, rare exhibits are displayed. In this village, Kopaneli, an old traditional needlework practice, is being preserved. The villages of the municipality are known for their lush green nature and have become a popular destination to both local and foreign visitors. The traditional homemade cheese pies, finger bites and strong raki are a familiar hospitality treat. The history of the municipality of Georgioupoli is merely a century old. It was built in 1898 and named after the appointed governor of Crete, Prince George, as the first governor of the newly acquired state of Crete. A quiet fish village a few decades back, at present it is one of the most visited tourist resorts in Crete. Here, nature has been generous. Nature reserves and rivers vary the landscape, clear, organized, and cared for by the municipality authorities' beaches. In luxurious large and small accommodation establishments, Cretan hospitality finds its utmost expression. Here, the modern, highly developed and complete infrastructure is the living proof of the high standards of tourist services offered in Crete. A little high up from this town, the only lake on the island is found, Lake Korna. Nesting in the arms of the mountains, in lush green, beautified with a variety of life and immersed in its myths, this beautiful lake every afternoon flaunts the golden hair of the Lady of the Tales, painted with the brushes of the sunlight. At the end of the village, further up from the lake, a wonderful cave, rich in stalactites, awaits to be discovered. Rethymnon, the city of traditional nobility and the sacred gauge. This beautiful daughter of Crete, city of culture and art. The history of this city too is lost in the times before the Minoans. Its habitation remains unbroken to date, but its visible history is restricted to the years from the Venetian occupation forth. The third largest in size city on Crete, open to the sea, in contrast to the other cities on the northern coastline of the island, with dolphins as its trademark. The Venetian Fortezza, a well-preserved monument, towers over the small, rugged hill boasting its grandeur. In the center of the fort rests restored the great mosque, which before the Ottoman occupation in 1645 was a church consecrated to St. Nicholas. On the northern side stand partially renovated the Venetian storerooms of the castle with their magnificent arches, while around the yard the visitor anticipates to find the sentries at their posts. Within the walls, display areas have been developed where often significant art events are organized. A quaint and delicate small theater on the walls every now and then mirrors the intellectuality of the city. In the small Venetian port, the fishing boats and the colorful sailing boats provide unfailingly the city with fish. Next to the small port, the large port connects daily Rethymnon city to Piraeus. Old-fashioned, small, neat streets, balconies where the eyes rest, doors and windows with carved illustrations draw the beauty of the old city. The Archaeological Museum is located at an easy proximity to the center of the city, with significant artifacts of all the ages. Of fine workmanship and pleasant to the eye is the Venetian fountain built by Retturis Rimonti in 1629 in the heart of the old city. The well-preserved minarets, rising admirably, cutting through the sky, demonstrate the presence of the Ottoman Turks. Majestic also lies the church of the New Four Martyrs at the large central square. A true jewel of the town is the county mansion. Its neoclassic nobleness is complete with the marvelous exterior design of the area it dominates. The city is friendly to the sea, and the sea open-handedly offers long and open beaches with golden sand and clear waters. Waters that invite and attract not only the locals, but even more the thousands of the foreign visitors to the noble city. At present, Rethymnon develops ceaselessly and is a prime recreation and entertainment destination for the local and foreign visitors. The fountains of Argyroupolis, a majestic draw of the brush by a divine artist on the body of the island. They declare their lively presence next to the ancient lapa, rivaling the singing of the cicadas. a hillside endowed with a green nature, with age-old plane trees, with crystal-clear waters, with rapid, gargling fountains. It is one of the most popular recreation areas in Crete. Spili, like a Mediterranean noble village, is deeply rooted on the mountainous rocky hillside, and proudly flaunts its rapid waters, the tall plane tree of the square, and the decorated with traditional hand-woven textile shops. Going through picturesque villages, we come to the village of Kronos. It is built at the foot of ancient Sivritos, the renowned large city of the historic and Hellenistic times. Byzantine churches with elaborate religious wall paintings and icons coexist with the general ancient antiquity. In this corner of the Cretan earth, inside the austere church of Santa Paraskevi, rests the rebel of the Venetian times, George Hortaxis. In the diverse gorge of Patsos, besides the scenic passage the visitor enjoys walking through, he feels one with nature, with the murmur of the water and the singing of the birds. Here one admires carved in the rock the little Christian church that coexists with the ancient sanctuary of god Hermes. The wooden benches on the sparsely developed natural landing, along with the plane trees, compose the perfect welcome committee for the faithful worshipper in the non-ending merrymaking of nature. Monastiraki is world known for the excavations of the Minoan settlement discovered here. Returning to the village of Thronos, traditional living comes to life through the fingers of the Cretan lyra player in the form of music and singing, and the hands of the housewife in the form of a feast. The next morning, the dawn colors draw with the brushes of the sun rays the passage through the Kota Leotiko Gorge. On the southern side of Rethymnon Prefecture, in a quaint bay, stretches Plakias, a gorgeous tourist resort with elegant beaches and natural peculiarities. Going through the village with the small taverns and the blossoming trees, the visitor is welcomed with the open-hearted, familiar Cretan hospitality and the warmth of the landowner. Preveli region is the most well-known region of the county, and with a good reason. In the pool formed by the water flow under the imposing stone bridge, ducks and water birds build their own microcosm. Nearby, the everyday man discreetly builds his own recreation stand. Through here, the unsurfaced road leads to Damnoni, a scenic and peaceful beach where the visitor, walking through a trail with steps, arrives to the mouth of the river. Preveli's River, one of the few live rivers on Crete, which empties into the Livico Pelaros, with its tropical dress of palm trees, murmurs its everlasting water song. Further to the west, the world-famous monastery of Preveli, with its enormous contribution to the struggles of Cretans for liberation. Renovated today, it continues its great spiritual contribution to this holy place. Renowned for its touristic attraction is Agia Galini. It is spread amphitheatrically on a hillside rising in the middle of its small port. On the colorful beaches, spreading their sun to the east and the west, fine-looking taverns await to welcome every guest. From this port, small boats make daily trips to Sfakia and Kavdos. Arcadi, a holy land, temple of freedom and the struggles for the freedom of the island. An imposing monastery with carved features on its front constitutes a mix of European and Eastern architecture. History bows devoutly to Arcadi of the ages. Here, in the powder magazine of the monastery, an epic story was written during the rebellion of 1866 against the Ottoman Turks and the reunification with the mainland. On November 9th, in 1866, north from the Holy Arcadi, the ruins of ancient Eleftheria are found, one of the 100 large and autonomous cities of historic Crete. It is the city that has handed down the only name of the Cretan king of the historic times, that of Viterhos. Panamos was the seaport of Eleftheria to the North Sea. In the whole journey to the open beach of Fordele, the whims of nature, the crystal waters with the numerous creeks, the bounding rocks, breaths in the flying of birds, compose a beauty second to none. Piled up on the side of the road in a particular traditional way, mountains of wood await silently to turn into coal. Gerontospilos of Melidoni, 300 meters high up and away from the village of Melidoni, receives in its cave the haunts of visitors to reveal the sad sacrifice of the villagers and its rich stalactite and stalagmite decor. The sanctity of the cave has been acquired through its long history, as it has been a refuge for settlements since the Neolithic ages to date. Hundreds of women and children have shed their blood here as a tribute to freedom. The genital Norgia is stunning through small villages deeply rooted in time and space. Norgia, the highest town in Crete, the great duchess of the mountains, welcomes us, built in the heart of Psiloritis mountain. Streets bustling with life, corners full of memories and history. In her glad rags, with hand-woven carpets, delicate needlework, skillfully handmade, the town welcomes and bids farewell to the days of the heat. Let us climb the unyielding mountain visitor. On our way, we come across elaborate stone shepherd's huts particular to Crete. Their mountainous roughness and construction, a drawing peculiarity to the eye of the mountaineer. Every small clearance of the rocks gives way to calmer stretches of land, small, flat, breathtaking on the rocky terrain. Nida Plateau, the highest plateau in Crete, is opening up before our eyes. Here, 300 meters higher, on the west side of the plateau, come and visit Ideon Andro, or Spiliara as the locals call it. Here, where the Father of Gods and humans was raised. Here, where Eneuros Minuas was climbing to receive the commands from his father Zeus, so he could be a good ruler to his people. Climbing up to Sfinaka at the edge of the road, beautiful bundles of the mountain's flora meet the eye. Tiny, small bunches of flowers, eternal offer to the greatness and godliness of the holy old man. On the summit, at 1800 meters, the White Eagle. Here also nests the University Observatory that compensates the visitor with a breathtaking view of the peak. And it's no wonder this feeling of greatness, visitor. From up here, with everything you saw, smelled, touched, tasted, and heard, with all that old Psiloritis has whispered, you feel rather than understand the Cretan macrocosm. Heraklion is the largest city of Crete. Located in the center of the island, it is its largest financial and administrative center. Its geographical position, large port, lush countryside, and the flat land has secured an enviable position for this city among other cities of the island. In the boundaries of its present location, laid one of the three seaports of ancient Knossos. The city was first fortified during the Arabic occupation and was reinforced, becoming thus the most significant and safest base of the operations for the Arabic campaigns in the Mediterranean Sea. When the Venetians occupied the island, it became the capital city of Rhenno di Candia, meaning the Kingdom of Crete, and was endowed with elegant public and private buildings. The Ottoman Turks named the city the Great Castle because of its 23-year-long siege. In mid-19th century, it comes across with its ancient name. The contemporary city, besides being large and densely populated, it has one of the busiest ports in Greece for commercial and passenger boats. Large commercial, passenger and car ferries call at its port, and there are daily scheduled services to Piraeus, Thessalonica, Santorini and other island destinations. At the entrance of the small port lies the impregnable, throughout its history, fortress of Koules that has become, along with the rest of the fortification, a point of reference for the city. A deep moat complemented the reinforcement with its tall and well-constructed walls, renovated today in most places. There are three imposing gates of the wall preserved today. The gate of Pandokrator, better known as Hanioporta, is impressive for its construction and solidity. Further to the east lies the gate of Bethlehem, known today as Komeno Bedeni. Right next to it, the tallest point of the fortification is found, the renowned Tambia of Martinengo, named after the architect who designed it. There, at the top of the city, rest in their austere tombs two great lovers of the Cretan spirit, Nikos and Eleni Kazantzakis. From up here, the bell tower of St. Minas, the patron saint of the city, challenges the eye. Is one of the largest and most imposing cathedrals in Greece. The third largest gate that still serves the city, renovated today, is the Gate of Jesus, or Kenouria Porta, meaning the New Gate. Inside the city, the elegant Loggia, the mansion where Venetian dignitaries used to gather, impressive, gazes at the ages. Next to it, the old army quarters, at present day, house the municipality mansions. On the north side of the mansions rises up in its austere magnificence the sorely dried church of St. Titus, a Zir mosque in Ottoman times, with a paved square and special architecture. At the center of the city, the Morosini fountain, better known as the Lion Square, is the only reminder of the Venetian Palazzo Ducale, or otherwise the Great Pasha during the Ottoman occupation. Walking across the central fruit market, we arrive at the beautiful Pempo fountain, named after its Venetian designer. Freedom Square is the largest in the city. The magnificent neoclassic building that houses today the county services dominates the west end of the square. The Archaeological Museum of the city is one of the largest in the country and displays one of the richest prehistoric collections in Europe. The international airport, Nikos Kazantzakis, copes with difficulty, especially in the busier months of summer, with the increasing demand for handling cargo and passenger flights. The countryside of Heraklion County, covered with olive groves and vineyards, keeps secrets of modern and old times. Knossos is a mere 5 kilometers from the center of the city. It is the largest and most significant center of prehistoric civilization in Europe, in which life and habitation was detected from the late Neolithic period. The enormous palace, first discovered by Minoas Kalokerinos, was later excavated systematically and restored at its present form by the British archaeologist Arthur Evans. It is one of the most brilliant architectural constructions of the prehistoric era, stretching over 22,000 square meters with 12,000 rooms and rising 5 floors high on the eastern side and 3 floors high on the west. The bright frescoes, the perfection of the construction, the innovative rooms, the studied planning and the many findings of the palace attract thousands of visitors every year. The second largest palace ruins are found in the plain of Messara at Festos. It is dated before Knossos, but it lacks in size and stateliness. Three kilometers west from Festos, the small but luxurious palace of Agia Triada is located on the slope of the hill with its impressive shape and elegance. Komos, Kamilari of Digitria, and Lentas comprise other important sites of Minoan settlements. The extensive, fertile plain of Messara offers from the old ages to date its abundant products for the well-being of its inhabitants. Matala, this well-known town with a well-preserved Hellenistic and Roman cemetery, the caves carved in limestone rocks, the beautiful and comfortable accommodations, the clean sea, sandy beach, and the quaint taverns attracts large numbers of visitors. To the north, Timbaki is rightly called the Garden of the County. Large quantities of fruit and vegetables grow here on the fertile soil and by the hard-working residents. Strong allies to this effort, Kokinos Pigos, with its picturesque and safe small port, a refuge and sweet home to the fishing and sailing boats. Both these towns, located at the western end of the county, are lined with a long sandy beach and are refreshed with a crystal clear sea. Vori town hosts a unique ethnological museum with rich traditional exhibits of architecture, embroidery, folklore art and daily living. At the foot of the mountain Psiloritis rests Zaros, the village of Cretan music lovers. it has the privilege to be endowed with lush green countryside. The Lake of Zaros is a charming spot with easy access. This corner of Cretan nature is endowed with a defiant beauty. The taverns, being in harmony with the surroundings on the neat shores of the lake, complete the feeling of recreation that the area brings out to the visitor. The fish farms of the area offer their large trout and delicious salmon as a fine gastronomical treat. The nearby renovated watermill preserves not only its image but its traditional role as well, carving thus images of the past in today's world. Further down, the many water springs of Gheorghe, with their clear waters and through a picturesque route extends the forest of Ruvas. Walking through the forest, the visitor arrives at the small church of St. John and the wooded ravine, waiting to share its freshness, beauty, and peculiarity of the flora. Here, many pilgrims are visiting the small church, seeking to enjoy moments of peace and rest in the lush, virgin green flora. Here, people and nature operate unhindered, freely in a natural elevation of the soul. The monastery of Brondisi and a number of other monasteries, country churches, Byzantine churches with wall paintings, and shrines bear witness to the religious feelings of the residents. Vortis, known as Larissa in the Minoan times, guards the exit of Messara towards Heraklion. Stretching over a vast area, it takes pride in the glory it acquired in the historic and Roman times and retained up until its conquest and destruction by the Arabs. The town of Archanes has its own distinctiveness and history. The conscientious effort of the municipality authorities and the residents have managed to preserve the traditional architecture, to give a complete facelift to the small streets, to restore the quaint balconies, to endow the small streets with shady, trailing vines, and give life to the neoclassic buildings. A small part of the extensive Minoan palace in Archanes has been excavated at present in the area known as Turkish neighborhood. Small though it might be, it demonstrates its past wealth and splendor. West of the historic city of Archanes rises the holy mountain of Yuktas. On the hill of Vathipetros, we discover an interesting side of the Minoan way of living. In a uniquely excavated, well-preserved handicraft workshop, here we see the age-old craftsmanship of the Cretans in olive oil and winemaking. It's no wonder that the delicious and quality products of Archanes basin claim their age-old origin. Thrapsanos is the village of pottery. There are many workshops at present whose pottery techniques originate from the Minoan tradition of the village and prosper on the creativity of the pottery makers. The activity of the residents extends in the cultivation of flowers and floriculture. At Kalathiani Kefala, on the slope to the south of village Galatas, a new palace comes to light from the excavations that take place there every year and for the past 10 years. Arkalahori is a town under constant development. On the hill, towering over to the west, a sacred cave was discovered, and from its depths, a number of ceremonial vessels and many golden, silver, and brass double axes came to light. Next to the village Ini, with the water dams, was the heart of ancient Arcadia, the post-Christian base for the Arcades of Crete. The breadth of the ruins and the many findings from the excavation in the area, displayed at the Archaeological Museum in Heraklion, indicate the wealth of the area and the well-being of its residents. The small and beautiful church of Zolodochospigi, located next to the old dam, presents an opportunity for an annual festival. On the eastern side of Ini, it has come to light an old Christian basilica that is claimed to have been for some time the Episcopal Church of Arcadia in the early Christian times. The ancient city called Ienatos, Anthropolis, or late Anastopolis, is today called Tsoutsouros and is known for the blending of the wilderness with the calm sea. Here is found the most ancient cave dedicated to the goddess of childbirth Eileithyia that was worshipped until the 6th and 7th century AC. Hotels and accommodation units offer comfortable lodgings, while taverns with local fish from the nets of the fishing boats add a whole new visual gravity to the process of food. Inside Tsoutsouros Gorge, a partially excavated basilica with a marble throne indicates the significance of the place. The small, newly acquired harbour of the cove, besides providing shelter to the fishing and light sailing boats, it additionally offers the opportunity for amateur fishing performances. To the east, the coastline displays the many beauties of the Cretan nature. Dematos, Keratokambos, Tsariforada, Arvi, the picturesque seashore villages with a large production of fruits and vegetables and a clear and busy sea, are supervised by the village of Pianos, located in the middle of the Lasithiotica mountainside. This beautiful large village on the southern side of Mountain Dicti, the visitor can view the ways and hard labours of the locals. Kasteli Pediados is the last Mediterranean town of the plain to the northeast. The modern town hall is built on the base of the old Venetian fortress. Next to it, the beautiful, small, stone-made Byzantine church is its restless guardian. From Kasteli Pediados, it is easy to visit the ancient city of Leto. A remarkable city of the historic times is waiting at present to be excavated. At the village Amariano, the visitor can enjoy food or coffee at the simplistic Cafe Neon at the square under the thick shade of the plane trees, admiring the beauty and vividness of the Venetian stone spring. The square of Polythea, decked out in flowers, welcomes pleasantly the visitor, offering its discreet scents. Mathia, a historic village, with the marvelous Byzantine churches in the countryside and charming spots, lush and green, reflects past ages and times. It is the open-handed treats and warm welcome of the locals that brings you back to the reality of the village. Caruzanos is the last village of the municipality of Castelli, opening up to the mountains of Lasithiotica with beautifully decorated streets, cool breeze, pleasing mountain view, open-hearted and hospitable residents. At present day, Smari, the acropolis of the ancient city, rises like a great watchtower at the top of the hill, overlooking the plain and stretching out until the foot of the mountain Dicti. The village Varvari, renamed Mytia, is the birthplace of Nikos Kazantzakis. Here the museum with many personal exhibits of the world-famous writer is found. At the monastery of Hagia Irini, built on a beautiful eastern slope at the foot of mountain Psiloritis, past the large village of Chrysonas, the blissful image of Santa Irene on mosaic welcomes the visitor. The historic nunnery, with the neat environment and the large contribution to the island's struggles for freedom, welcomes the visitor with the softly spoken words of the Reverend Mother. Hagia Pelagia is attractive for the successive coves, the blue sea and warm beaches. Primed with all kinds of little shops, offers relaxation and peace in the day and a surprisingly lively nightlife. To the east and west of the city of Heraklion stretch long, colorful, organized beaches and surpassed in beauty. Past Linopiramata, Amudara, Seropotamos, to the west of the city, we arrive at Karteros, where the horse riding center organizes daily and weekly trips on horses to the interior of the county. The long sandy beach offers organized sea sport centers, taverns, and accommodation units to suit all kinds of tastes. Here the visitor can also find various sandy courts for sea games and sports. Amnisos is another tourist resort with a Minoan mansion that has lent to the archaeological museum the brightest frescoes. The whole seashore to the east is endowed with sandy beaches, organized sea recreation centers, taverns, luxury accommodation units, and comfortable hotels. One of the most significant contemporary jewels of the island is housed here on the north beach of Krunes, the Sea World. This magnificent sea park hosts hundreds of forms of life from the Mediterranean Sea. Particularly impressive are the two small sharks, the sea turtle, and the rest inhabitants of the bottom of the sea that can rarely be encountered. To the eastern end of the county stretches Hessonissos, which was the seaport to the ancient city of Ethos. At the top of the hill, the visitor can find the remains of the glorious past of the town and the ruins of an early Christian church with its well-preserved mosaic floor. Inside the city, the beautiful mosaic and the shape of pyramid comes from the yard of a Roman mansion. Hessonissos at present has been established as one of the most beautiful and well-organized resorts in Crete, with thousands of tourists visiting the city every year. There is no comfort or recreation on the island that is not offered at the city. Large and famous hotel complexes, accommodation units of all kinds, taverns and restaurants for all tastes, bars, dancing clubs, shops and sites, games and sport activities, a world bustling with activity day and night, welcoming and inviting the visitor. Next to Hessonissos is the similarly developed town of Stalida, a breath away from Hessonissos. Here, the pace is more personal and family-oriented. Relationships are warmer and in harmony. At the superb taverns, taste is undeniable. Cleanliness, varied menus, impeccable and warm service. And when merrymaking is high, a special enjoyment gives its place to the daily holiday activities, still retaining the traditional aspect of the land. Malia is a large town with intense tourist and agricultural development. It is home to the third largest Minoan palace of central Crete. The palace in Malia is smaller and less glorious than the other two in Crete. In the area called Chrysolakos, the famous golden necklace with the bees carrying a honey nugget was found. Lasithi, the distinctive feature of this county and its main distinction from the other counties of Crete is that it lacks in a large urban area, gathering all political, administrative, financial and cultural services. 3 cities, 3 different microcosms in the macrocosm of the island: Agios Nikolaos, Hieropetra, Sitia. Agios Nikolaos. Spreading along the west coast of Mirambela Bay, Agios Nikolaos is the capital city of Lasithi County. The city is built on the ruins of Lato, and it was the seaport of this ancient city during the Hellenistic times. The historical presence of the city is disturbed in the years of the Second Byzantine era. It is found again in the years under the Venetian occupation, when the new captors found in the Castel Mirambello, the castle with a nice view. In the last years of the Turkish occupation, a small settlement came into being that was named after the small church of St. Nikolaos that stands up to date on the small peninsula of the port. The use of the small and safe port has been unbroken to date. At present, the port receives larger boats and has scheduled services to the Deccanese. The most characteristic spot of the city is Poulismeni, the quaint lagoon with a small isthmus dividing the city into 2. According to tradition, 2 goddesses, Athena and Artemis, bathed here daily. A large number of hotel units, restaurants and all kinds of shops are lined up along the lake shores of Poulismeni and the remaining coastal line of the county. Throughout the year, but mainly in the summer months, St. Nikolaos welcomes many visitors attracted to the city by the beauty of the landscape and the picturesque ports and coves that unfold along its coastline. Elunda, a busy coast with many hotel resorts and significant tourist activity, lies on the few remains of the ancient city Όλους, the largest part of which is sunk in the sea. Directly opposite Plaka, the rocky islet Spinalonga or Kalydon is found. On this islet, on the ruins of the ancient Acropolis, the Venetians built in 1579 a mighty fortress, the ruins of which are visible today. Small boats connect the isle Spinalonga with Agios Nikolaos, Elunda and Plaka. At Krita, an early Byzantine church with a unique architecture is found. Neapolis, meaning the new town, supervises the rich olive oil producing plain. At the foot of the mountain to the north, the ancient city Dreiros, well known in historic and Hellenistic times, still guards its secrets. At historic Milatos, the cave of sacrifice, where the villagers shed their blood in the struggle for liberation from the Ottoman Turks, is found. The crystal-clear waters of the open sea, the small, beautiful port, and the old-fashioned taverns on the beach offer moments of unique relaxation and enjoyment. The monastery of St. George Selinaris, dominating the entrance to Neapolis basin, compels the devout traveler to stop by. Sisi is an exceptional choice for holidays. Well known for its taverns and the delicious food, the town offers a variety of sea enjoyments, recreation and natural beauty. The small boat makes short cruises to Malia, the Sonissos and the islet of Thea. Critical village is renowned for its marvelous beach and the small but comfortable port. Ascending the road to Lasithi, we come to Krasi, with its lush green, the tall, age-old plane tree, and the stone-built Venetian water reservoir offers idyllic moments of relaxation. The green-clad gorge rises panoramic. Here, at its end, nests the nunnery of Panagia Kira. A little higher, there is the museum with the exhibits of Neolithic daily activities, and to the north lies Kafi with its Neolithic settlement. From this mountainous spot begin hiking trails to Lasithi Plateau and Panagia Kira. The fertile Lasithi Plateau opens up like an enormous, age-old crater with villages and settlements crowning its periphery. A little higher from the village Psychro lies the greatly sought after for its coolness in summer, with the always warm-hearted locals, cave where Xenius Zeus was born. The whole plateau is an inexhaustible source of production for fruits and appetizing garden produce. Gunia is an interesting small Minoan settlement on the top of a small hill that flourished 2,000 years ago. Ierapetra is the second largest city of Lasithi County, also called the Bride of Liviko-Pelagos. The city has rich history dating back to the Minoan era. At present, only Kules, the Venetian fort, and the Turkish mosque remind the visitor of the past times. Tourist infrastructure of the city and the general area is specially developed. Ierapetra secures its fame with the inexhaustible production, packaging and export of fresh garden produce throughout the year. Thousands of tons of garden produce are traded through the auction hall of Ierapetra. From Ierapetra, small boats leave daily for the island of Krisi or Gaiduronisi. The drive on the North Highway to Sitia is exceptionally pleasant. Scenic bays, clear seas, attractive coastline and isolated coves compose a beautiful landscape. A detour close to Ferma leads to the village Agios Ioannis, with its stunning beauty, rich springs and the traditional way of living. Sitia County is the easternmost end of Crete, rich in the production of olive oil. The cooperative of the county has managed to establish a brand name for its olive oil around the globe by actively processing, packaging and promoting the product. In the county of Sitia, the most Minoan settlements in Crete have been excavated. Makrialo, Zou, Zakro, Syro-Cambo, Spileo-Pelekiton, Aitano, Palecastro, Petofa, Ithia, Lithinas, Zero, Petra, Amaisi, Presso, Agia Fatia, and from many more areas of the county, Minoan foundings have come to light. Sitia is a relatively new town. It is built on older settlements, as the small Venetian fort of Casama indicates. Sitia at present, despite its restricted size, has the capacity to welcome and cater for thousands of visitors. The wide, organized beach offers every sea recreation. Nightlife is both varied and rich. To the east of the town, on the hill Petras, it is thought to have existed the Minoan town that dominated the Petras Cove. In many areas of the county, alternative ways of producing electricity have been deployed. Essos has been the capital city of Vitio Cretans. Built on a fortified position formed by the river Didymos, it played an important role in historic times. The monastery of Toplu, one of the liveliest and most active monasteries in Crete, with its fort-resembling architecture, overlooks the landscape. The restoration work and embellishment taking place here, in combination with the interest of the museums and the sanctity of the place, result in the monastery's appeal to many visitors of the county. Vai is the only self-sown palm tree forest in Europe. The quiet stream flowing into a quaint cove rich in sand, and the clump of trees give an exotic dimension to the Cretan landscape. Further to the north, it was erected the mighty city of the historic and Hellenistic times, ancient Aitanos. In the ruins, the distinctive ground plan of the large old Christian basilica is found today. At the easternmost post of Sitia County, Palecastro is seen. At the position Roussolakos, systematic excavations bring often to light important findings that are displayed at the Museum of Sitia. East of Palecastro rises Petofas Hill, where the most important Minoan country sanctuary in eastern Crete is found. Kato Zakros is a beautiful, picturesque village, hidden in the warm arms of the sea. In the small plain created by the waters of the gorge that ends here, called the Gorge of Death by the burials found in its walls, was erected the fourth largest Minoan palace excavated in Crete. It bears all the characteristics of the Minoan palaces, but due to the extensive size of its storerooms and workshops, it is thought to have been the seaport of the Minoan Crete, connecting the island to Egypt, Minor Asia, and Middle East. The geological forces carved the mountain ranges and have endowed the county with steep caves and unsurpassed in beauty gorges. The quest for beauty is endless, dear visitor. So let us pause, getting to know, you also understand. Thousands of unspoken beauties are left behind. Countless microcosms wait to be revealed. Whatever we say, whatever we show, we cannot escape the sad thought that our blessed land remains unknown. Because its marrow, the depth of its soul, its quality, will always be desired and much sought after. We'll compose thousands inviting microcosms in our vast Cretan macrocosm. In a macrocosm, eternal singing from the ages to the ages.
Κρατάς δεξιά μια νήπειρο, αριστερά μια άλλη. Τους παίζεις στη βροντόλιρα για να χορέψουν πάλι, για να χορέψουν πάλι.